average person who doesn't work out, doesn't know how to push his body, doesn't do this.
Right.
That's not us. It's not a sprint. It's a grind. You got to do it day in and day out and keep getting wins.
That was my deal. I would have got it.
Smile, dial, and make a pile. Okay, that's my slogan. There's a million of them. Only a few people succeed at a high level. Hey everybody, Mark McKenna, episode number lucky 13 of The Real Hustle. So this episode is going to be a little different. As you can see, I have no guests today. So, some of my listeners out there might know, what's going on in my life over the last year. And so a lot of people know about my real estate career, what we've been doing. And I have to tell you, I appreciate all the great text and emails and Instagram notifications about people getting a lot out of this program. And that's why we did this. We want to bring out, motivational things, how people have had difficult times and have overcome adversity throughout their career. So, in October of this year, I'll never forget, it was I was waiting for some blood work to come back, and it was a real hot day in October, and I was in the pool swimming, and I saw my friend call, and I was like, I got to answer this. So he called me up, and he's like, hey, I got the results back. I'm like, all right. He's like, you got cancer. I'm like, okay. He's like, let's talk Monday, and we'll go over it. I'm like, all right. And I hung up the phone, and I just kind of sat there and was like, holy shit. And my wife and kids were home at the time, and I didn't say anything for like an hour and a half. I was just kind of like, wow, that's a weird phone call. I never thought I'd be in that circle of people. So, I had to get a game plan. So my daughter was here, my oldest daughter, and I think Ashley was here too. Patrick was at school. And I said, I called my wife over. I'm like, hey, I just got the results back, and I do have prostate cancer. And she dropped an F-bomb, like, oh, So, and I was like, So I sent a text out to my mother and my brothers. I was like, hey, guys, I don't feel like talking right now. I just want to let you know the results came in. So like any person does, they kind of ponder all weekend. They bounce a couple things off some people who've had it, and I had to make some decisions of what I was going to do. And we also made a decision, as a lot of people know, is to go public about it. To talk about what's happening in my life to help educate other people out there. Because let's face it, okay, most guys don't like to talk about their prostates, okay, because that's like the manliest thing in your body, and it's like, hey, what's going on? So we made a decision that I was going to go through radiation. I was fortunate enough in my football career. I had a guy who was a tight end in our team at Cherokee and happened to be really, really smart. And he, excuse me, he was at Penn, and he's the head guy, the proton radiation. Sent him an email, called me right back, and put me in touch with the right people, and I chose to go through radiation and proton. I made the decision that I was going to go through radiation and hormone therapy. So, in the radiation, we started in February or late February. It was a 6-week treatment, and I was really worried about that. I thought that was going to be like brutally hard. The people at Penn were just amazing. I would leave my house at 5:15 every day, get there by quarter of, drink my water, do my thing. I made friends with a bunch of people in there, and it was just difficult because it was early, and I would come home, shower, get ready, and be in the office by 8:30 to 9 o'clock every day. So I wanted to treat this thing like my life was normal. And for the most part, it was pretty normal. The hormone therapy, they gave me this injection for the Lupron And I have a new appreciation for females in their mid to late 50s because I was having hot flashes all the time. I was eating chocolate. I want to watch movies and snuggle on the couch, and my whole demeanor changed because they drive your testosterone down to zero. So it was kind of some different vibes going through my body, and I always push and push and push at work. I mean, I make sure, like, I always try and get the best out of everything I do, and I'll never forget my assistant Lucy, who's been with me for 23 years or so. She said to me, I said, "What were the numbers for the first quarter?" She goes, "We did 42 million." I go, "That's it?" I said, "We did like 44 last year." She goes, "Well, you were kind of going through radiation and you weren't working at full speed." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess you could say that." So Lucy says to me, "Why are you being so hard on yourself?" And I don't even put that in the equation. I don't even do that. So, and one of the things that I always try, I'm always so numbers driven and making sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to. It really kept my mind off of what was actually happening. I mean, I'm like, all right, here I go. And, when I always say that to really be successful in life, you have to have some setbacks and fight through them to really, because some people take for granted their day to day. So I don't want to minimize having prostate cancer, but when you go down to a radiation department every morning, you get to see people who are really, really sick, way sicker than I was. And, I was like, wow, like I didn't want to feel sorry for myself at all. I didn't want my kids to feel like, hey, there's any issue, because I surrounded myself with the best doctors that I can, and I took the approach that I thought was going to make me, function at 100%, and I think I did that. You want to talk about customer service? You don't think about customer service in a hospital. The University of Penn's customer service was amazing from the time you parked the car. The guy was like hugging me every day. The girl at the reception area, the nurses, they made your experience so amazing. And, I actually, when I stopped going there, I was like, I missed everybody. So, and I tried to keep it lighthearted when I was there because they have so many difficult stories. And, always telling jokes, bringing them funny things. I mean, some of the people saw, the funny skit I did after I rang the bell. Like, like they had such a positive impact on my life. I wanted to give them back something. And I think, that's the one thing that I take from all this. And I'm so glad, Shay, who works with me, I said to her, why don't we do something to kind of make some more public awareness about this? So I was given updates, on Instagram and Facebook. I can't even tell you how many males from 40 to 65 called me up and said, "Hey, I've been through this. Hey, I'm going through this now. Hey, I got my prostate checked. My wife's been bothering me," and it's kind of like people call me now. I'm like the prostate guy for questions because everybody knows I've had it. So, and I have to say this, I've developed a couple really good friendships with clients who we've had some conversations that you typically don't have, doing some different things. And you're going to laugh. I'm going to share this story. It was kind of funny. I always think sales and questions, and this is a little off color, but I'll tell you. So I'm having this procedure done where they put this gel insert inside you, okay, and they're not going down my throat, so you can imagine the picture. I walk into the room. I got my feet up in the air. There's 8 people in the room. There's 3 guys from the company who makes the product observing this procedure, and I'm there. And the doctor says, "Okay, we're going to start the process. Do you have any questions for us?" And I'm like, "Sure, I have one question. I think it's extremely important." He's like, "What is that?" I go, "Does anybody in here need to buy or sell a house?" right? And he's like, "What did you just say?" Well, here the guy next to me, the nurse, he's like, "My wife and I are looking," right? And we were laughing so hard. I came back and told that story to my agents. Never sold the guy a house, but I'm not giving up. I got his phone number. But that's the kind of things when you have these experiences in life, I always try to keep it lighthearted with everything that I do. I mean, because if you get down on yourself, your mindset, I don't care if it's work or your health, is 99% of the game. I mean, it is. So let's equate that. I get down, I don't want to go, I miss something, I get my schedule out of whack. It's the same thing at work. 2 deals fall apart, you get down. The next call that can come in could be $1 million call. I never let that happen. Okay? So your mindset, if you're in a sales situation, if you have challenges in life, you need to make sure that you stay as positive as you possibly can. I mean, I can't even tell you how important it is. I'm very fortunate that I have a great support staff. I have amazing friends. I have awesome people I work with. My family is top notch. My boss slash mother is wonderful. So all that stuff play. But you build that environment, okay? You pick who, if you're around toxic people, that's your choice. I don't want to be around toxic people. I want to make sure when things happen that are rough in my life, I don't want to focus on negativity. I just don't do it, okay? Because it's just going to ruin everything you do. It's going to bring you down, and you're going to begin to think that. I had a conversation with an agent, a great agent, and he was struggling a little bit. We got to lunch every quarter, and we talked. And I was like, "How you doing?" He's like, I'm a little slow." I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I got this new office, and everybody in the office kind of congregates near my spot, and they all bitch and complain they're not busy." I'm like, "What do you do?" He's like, "I listen to him." I go, "You're poisoning your brain. Poisoning your brain." He goes, "Well, what would you do?" And I said, "Well, here's what I would do." I said, "Well, you're not busy?" They're like, "No, I haven't sold any houses. I think it's where we work at." Okay. And I said, I would say to them, if I woke up and followed you from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m., would I be happy or sad with what you do to produce business? He looks at me. I say it to my agents all the time. If I followed you, would I be happy or sad with what you're doing? And the answer is typically I would be sad. Okay? So you need to do things in your daily production and your daily life that are, and we say it all the time. I mean, no one said it better than Brian Glatz on episode 10. Okay? Just get a win. I mean, that is the best information that you can ever get from anybody. Just get a win today. Because wins pile up. It might be at work. It might be at home. It might be at the doctor's. Okay? Just go out there and get a win. You'll feel better about yourself. You'll see you're going in the right direction. And if you have a bad day, chalk it up, man. Chalk it up. Because if you dwell on the bad things, I mean, and I'm going to change one thing. I had one time in my career back in 2014, I had this huge chain reaction. It was a $6 million chain reaction. It was 4 houses I sold. I had them all the way up the line. All the deals fell apart. It was a huge check. I couldn't think straight for 3 days. Okay? I will never, ever, ever do that again. Because there's nothing out there that's going to affect what I do anymore in my life. You have to really focus and be level-headed, and you cannot get off tilt and be too emotional in these transactions. Okay? I can't stress it enough. So you just got to just be calm, because at the end of the day, if you're in sales or you're selling real estate, you're hired to take the emotion out of the transaction. Okay? If you start to lose it, everything falls apart. So you got to take that thought process from the morning you wake up all the way down throughout the day. Okay? If there's anything, I'm telling you, get a win and keep that mindset together. I mean, I'm fortunate. I haven't had a lot of crazy stuff in my personal life. I have a wonderful family, but when you get dealt different blows in life and you can't handle them, it can all fall apart on you. So you got to really find that thing that keeps you grounded and keep going. So I don't want to sound up here like I'm the, I know everything about how to handle problems, but in my personal experience going through this whole journey with cancer, I had a couple key friends. There's probably 5 or 6 of them that I leaned on all the time, and Greg Lanoza, Brian Glatz, John Megan, Jeff was always awesome. Kept things like everything was fine, like things like that. The calls, how you feeling? What are you doing? I'm like, great. I just get up in the middle of the night and pee 4 times a night, but I'm great. Okay. I'm selling houses. You are? You're going to work every day? Hell yeah, I'm going to work every day. Okay. I have to go to work. You got to keep it normal. That's what you do. So, and if ever anybody has any questions about the process and different things, that's why we did this, to educate people, to help people. And even my doctors were like, you have what? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it publicly. And they're like, that's cool. I'm like, yeah, because usually let me go back one piece. Some really smart people said some really dumb things to me right in the beginning. And I'll tell you what they said. They're like, you have prostate cancer? I'm like, yeah. They're like, what's it feel like? I'm like, dude, if you feel it, you're in deep trouble because it's too late. Okay? You got to get your PSA checked. You got to do these things. It's so prevalent in men in their 50s to 60s, even in their 40s. I got one friend of mine, and he's going through a whole lot, and he got his PSA tested during this. He read this or watched the things we did online on Instagram and Facebook, and we talk all the time, and he's struggling right now. So I told him, hey, you'll be fine. Keep going. I got him set up with my doctor. I sent my doctor 4 referrals. He's like, why are these people coming there? I said, because what we did online. Okay? So if you're going through it, it's fine. You'll get through it. Just listen to what they're doing. Keep the right mindset, and everything will work out for you. But stay on top of your health, everybody. That's the best thing I could tell you. Make sure you stay in that right headset and keep doing what you're doing every day to get wins. If you're getting wins, life's going to be good for you. Surround yourself with positive. Stay away from the toxic people, and life's going to be good for you. Well, that was my first episode by myself, episode 13, talking about some journeys through life. So I hope everybody got a lot out of that. Go get some wins, like I always say, and God bless.